skip to my MMA.
Post UFC 247, Dominick Reyes came out and gave several interviews claiming a robbery in his loss to Jon Jones, calling himself the People's Champ, calling for a rematch with Jones. Well, Jon Jones had some time Tuesday evening, firing off some tweets in response to Dominick Reyes and defending his victory. Here we go. I love how whenever I have a competitive fight, everyone claims the other guy won. Guess it just comes with the territory. Dominick outstruck me by literally 12 shots. I scored the takedowns, was the aggressor, controlled the octagon every round, had more significant strikes landed. Dom completely stopped fighting in the championship rounds and has the audacity to be mad at the judges. Don't be mad at the judges, be mad at Dom's conditioning guy. Man started to give up when the water got deep and is now going around doing interviews talking about being robbed. When will these young boys start taking responsibility? That's what's wrong with boys these days. If anyone was robbed, it was Dom's fans. He robbed them of finishing the fight like a man. Going on your shield isn't for everyone, I guess. At the end of the day, I got to be a part of another classic. I'm over here in Albuquerque smiling from ear to ear. Having fights like that tickles my pickle. It makes me feel so alive. Makes me feel like a man. Especially when you display having balls the way I did. Nothing but a win. Also, I know my haters are pissed, which makes me really happy, lol. I don't think people realize how many ways this has been a blessing for me. Humbling, record-breaking, financially, a new rival, got to bring out the dog. UFC 247 is what it's all about. This will probably be one of the only times I defend myself about the fight. Just glad it has everyone talking. Jon seems open to a rematch. I'm replying to a fan that told him just rematch Reyes and set the record straight. Someone tell Uncle Dana to give me a call. Former referee and one of the pioneers of MMA, Big John McCarthy, came out and broke down the scoring criteria for MMA and blasted the judges for scoring the fight for Jones.
Unfortunately, we get a lot of times the commentators will say, well, he's got octagon or ring control. And it's like, that means nothing unless the first two criteria, being striking and grappling, are dead even. Then you will move down to who was the person that had the most aggression in the round, who was trying to bring the fight, and then if that's even, then you'll go to ring or cage control. It is so wrong. It does not matter if you are the aggressor. How many times have you watched guys go off against Lyoto Machida and go forward, and eat shot after shot as he's backing, going in circles, backwards, and he's winning the round because it doesn't matter how aggressive you are. It matters who is damaging who the most. That is it. And this is fighting. We tried to keep it away from ring generalship that came from boxing as far as you could win a round without throwing a punch. No, you cannot in MMA. You must be an offensive fighter, but you can be going backwards as long as you are scoring the more significant shots in that round if it is a striking round. I went and I'm watching it and I was like, holy shit, they gave it to Jon. Oh, man. And then my son, who is a judge, he calls me and says, hey, did you see it? I said, yeah. And he goes, I had that 3-2 for Reyes. And I said, so did I, first, second, and third. And he goes, yep. And then I had other people calling me, and it's like a whole bunch of the guys that you see most of the time sitting in those seats in those big fights all had Dom Reyes winning that fight. If it was different judges that night, you might have seen a different champion walking out. And that is what is unfortunate, because it should be people are consistent. And this is a big problem when you're looking at MMA as a sport. We don't have consistency in training. We don't have consistency in the officials. Look at the officials that we have and how many see time and time again, because those ones that are coming up just don't have what it takes to do those fights in a consistent manner. And Texas, people can say what they want. They have done this for a long time. They tend to use very few people from the outside. You will never see the UFC complaining about bringing in officials from the outside and paying for it. These promotions want the very best because they want what's best for their fighters.
Conversely, here's Kenny Florian and Jon Anik on the Anik and Florian podcast, making the case that the 49-46 scorecard for Jon Jones was justified.
I initially said that it's entirely possible that Jon Jones won 3-2 and that it was insane to have a judge say it was 4-1. Right. I have to say that it is not insane for that judge to have it 4-1. I went back and watched the fight about 2.5 times now, and it's possible that Jon Jones did win that fight 4 rounds to 1. I thought it was 3 rounds to 2, but it's entirely possible that he won it. And that to me is just mind blowing because, again, I thought there was no way that he won 4 rounds.
Right.
When you go back and watch it, guys, it can be different. Just watch it with an open mind. Watch it with an open mind.
Yeah, and I also need to go back and issue a retraction, I think, because I wrote on Instagram last night for the guy who had it 4 rounds to 1, dude is blown. And after watching it back, if you saw rounds 2 and 3 as both being close, but decided to give those rounds for Jon Jones, he certainly had 4 and 5. So I think when you gain some separation, you gain a little perspective, you tune out some of the noise, you allow some more truth to set in. You brought up the subconscious angle, right? Subconsciously, maybe you're not rooting for a guy like Jon Jones, so you want him to lose. So then when he doesn't lose in a fight that you saw as being very close and competitive, maybe there's some irritation there. Here's what I'll say about